All right, so in this video, I am going to demonstrate questions number 3. I'm going to do all these, and number 4 actually is part of your what you have to do for a project. There's a high-low guessing game that you have to do for the class. So I'm actually going to demonstrate how to do a rock paper scissors game. Okay. So anyway, when we start off with these, now these really hit home on how to do nested loops. I think if you can figure out these with nested loops, you probably can figure out almost anything with programming, okay? And the part of the reason why I think these are kind of hard are nested loops in my mind are almost like, let's look at bike gears. See if we can, okay, so here's like a picture of bike gear. So you got an outer gear, and that's your hard gear. And then you got these inner gears that you can pedal real quick. It's really easy, but the more you pedal, it's not like it makes a whole lot of rotation on the tire, where this big one, it's harder to pedal, but it creates more of a rotation of the tire. And so that's what I kind of think about when I'm doing nested loops, okay? So when I look at this, I like to think about this as rows and columns. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 columns, okay? So when I set this up, I'm going to say rows equals 10. And I'm going to start off with columns equals 0, because columns, if you look at this, this is going to be row 1, but there's going to be 10 columns in here, okay? And so that can set up our outer while loops. So we can say, as long as the rows are greater than 0, okay? So that would start off with 10, then 9, then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And that's where down here, we're going to do a rows equals rows minus 1, okay? So that would give us our 10 rows, okay? So it'd go 10, it would go through this loop one time and then subtract 1, and now rows would be 9. Then you go again, then rows would be 8, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it would go to 0, and 0 is not greater than 0, right? So then inside here we got a nested while loop, where we're going to say the columns are going to be less than the rows. Okay, so if column starts at 0, 0 is going to be less than 10. Then we're going to have to figure out how to add 1 to it. So inside here, I would say columns equals columns plus 1. So that gets us to add 1 to column each time. So it'd be column 0 is less than 10, and then we would add 1, and then be 1 is less than 10, then we would add 1, 2 is less than 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is less than 10, and then it would be 10. 10 is not less than 10, so this while loop would be done, and that's where this 10 for rows minus 1 would become 9, and then this would be 9 again. Now there's a couple things in here that we need to do. First of all, we need to print. And so we got to print our star. So I'll just say print, and we'll do our star, and then end equals blank. Okay, now the only thing here that we got to do is this right here always has to be 0. 0 needs to be less than 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay? So we got to reset down here our columns equal to 0. All right, so let's run this. I think this works. No, it doesn't. What did I do wrong? Oh yeah. After each row that prints, So after all your columns here print, you just want to do a print statement to go to the new line. So bam, that's A. All right. Okay. Then we can do some print. All right. Next up, B. There, that will do C, and then finally D. Okay, so all right, cool. So for the next one, this adds a layer of complexity because you're not just printing the stars, you're printing blank spaces before the stars, okay? So we're gonna need a blanks, or like a blank, what did you call it? A blank variable. So I'm going to start off on this one where I'm going to say, we'll say while rows are less than 10, okay. Now, there's different ways to do this, and the way I'm going to do this, so this first one, I need oh, wait a second. It's less than, we'll say it's less than or equal to 10. I'm going to change the rows to 1. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to start off with my blanks equal to 10, okay? And I'll say while rows are less than 10, then I'm going to do while blanks are greater than 1. So think about this. We'll start off with rows at 1, and we'll do 10 of our rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? And then this will be, we're going to have 10 is greater than 1. So we're going to have 9 blanks, then 8 blanks, 7 blanks, so forth. So then we want to make sure we do blanks equals the blanks minus 1. Inside here, we'll do a print on, we'll do a blank space and end that. Okay, so this would give us our 9 blanks. And then now in here, we need to do while the columns are less than the rows. And our columns are going to be 0 here. Cols equal to 0. So the reason why I said row is 1, because we're on row 1 here, but if our column is 0 less than 1? Yes, so then we'll print 1 star. Okay. I think this is going to be right. So hey, like columns, we got to add that up then. So columns plus 1. So so this would give us our 9 blanks. This would give us our 1 column, and then we need to do a print statement. Now I'm making this look really easy. This is not easy to think through. I've done these, you know, like I said, I've been teaching this stuff for 15 years. So I've done these, and I've pretty much just kind of memorized it in my head because I've demonstrated it so many times. But if you, like I said, if you can understand the intricacies, like this is the large kind of gear, And then, so it goes around one time, but while that's going on one time, this is like a smaller gear that needs to spin 9 times. And then this spins 1 time. And then we do a print statement. So you might struggle with this for a while, and this took me a long time to get. So I don't think you need to worry if this doesn't make sense right away. So anyway, look at this. So blanks, it starts off at 10, and then we do 10 is greater than 1. So this is going to run through 9 times. Now we do 10 minus the rows, and rows are 1, so 10 minus 1, blanks are now 9. Okay, so when we go back up here, 9 is 9 greater than 1, yes, and so we'll print 8 blanks. Okay, and so now what? Now we do the rows. We got to equal rows plus 1. We got to add 1. And then we are going to set our columns back to 0. So let's see if this runs. I think it should work. Okay, so there you go. So there's your 9 columns, or 9 blanks, 8, 7. Okay, so that's that. And again, you're probably going to have to read through this multiple times because this is not, the easiest thing on the planet to understand, all right? So the next one, let's see here. So we have, first, we're going to have blanks, but on the first row, we're not going to have a blank, all right? So I'm going to set blanks to 0 this time. And again, there's different ways to think about doing this. So I'm going to just say rows are at 0. And the first time through, columns are at 10. And then the blanks are at 0. Blanks are at 0. And I'll do while rows is less than 10. So inside that, we're going to have blanks going on here. So while blanks is less than or equal to rows. Do I want to do that? Do I want to do while blanks? Let's see here. I think I can do while blanks is less than rows. Let me see here. I might have to play with this, all right? So we're going to print our blanks. The first time through, we shouldn't have any. So we'll just print, because it's not going to hit this code, right? We'll do a blank space, comma, end equals blank. Okay, and then what do we do? Blanks equals blanks plus 1. Okay. And now we got to do our columns. So while our columns are greater than 0, because we're starting off with 10. So we want to do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So then we do print our star and equals that. So columns equals columns minus 1. Then we need to print a new line. We'll set our blanks equal to 0 again. We got to add 1 to rows. And our columns will be set, because columns first time through is 10. Now we need to make them to 9. Row is 0 at first, then we add 1 to its 1. So our columns will be the 9 next time through, okay? So columns are going to equal 10 minus the row, okay? Let's see. All right, let's look at this now. Yep, there we go. Again, we have an outer loop where it starts off 0. 0 is less than 10, so it's going to run through this 10 times, and this adds 1 to it for our outer one. our inner one, blanks are going to be less than the rows. So blanks are 0, rows initially are 0, so it's not going to print this. It's not even going to get inside here because is 0 less than 0? No. Then columns is 10. 10 is greater than 0, so it'll print these stars 10 times. Okay. For a new row, blanks get set back to 0, rows get set to 1, and then columns is 9, so is 1 less than 10? Yes. Is blanks is 0 less than 1? Yes, so print a blank space, add 1 to it, blanks becomes 1. Is 1 less than 1? No, and that's where that first blank spot prints. Okay, and then columns would be 9. Is 9 greater than 0? Yes, so it's going to print, this whole thing's going to print 9 stars. And then that's done, and then we set that back to 0. This would become 8, and this would become, this would become 2, and this would become 8. Okay, so that's that one. Let's look at this next one. All right, so there's no blank spots in here. So let's see here. Part D. All right, so let me think here. I'm just going to say the rows is equal to 1. I'm going to assign the columns equal to 0, while the rows are less than or equal to 10. We'll do a while loop, while, so this would do what? Rows is 1, 1 is less than or equal to 10, and here I've got another while where our columns is 0, and that needs to be less than the rows. And so think about it, so columns is 0, is 0 less than 1? Yes, so print your first star. Okay, and then we'll say columns equals columns plus 1. Okay, so now columns becomes 1. Is 1 less than 1? No. So then this loop is done. And so what we do is we print a blank space, and now we add 1 to rows. So rows would be equal to the rows plus 1, and the columns equals 0. Okay, so now rows is 2. Is 2 less than or equal to 10? Yes. Columns is 0. Is 0 less than 2? Yes. So it's going to print the stars twice this time up here. And then it would add 1 to it and become 3. Is 3 less than 2? No. So it'd print a blank line, and then rows would become 3. 3 is less than 10. So I think this would work. Should be fine. Okay, there we go. All right, anyway, that is our triangles. Next up, let's do a rock, paper, scissors. Okay. So with rock, paper, scissors, file, save as. Rock, paper. Okay, so for rock, paper, scissors, we're going to need, because the computer doesn't understand rock, paper, or scissors, it understands random numbers. So rock, paper, and scissors can have a random number 1, 2, or 3, because you're going to be playing against the computer. You as a user are going to enter rock, paper, or scissors, but the computer is going to choose a random number 1, 2, or 3. And based on that, we'll do if-else statements to see who wins or loses or ties or whatever. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to import the random class. We can do a random generator. I'm going to have a myAnswer variable equal to blank. We'll ask the user if they want to play again. And initially, we'll just assign it to yes so that you actually play the game. There's going to be a computer answer, which we'll just initialize at 0. because again, remember rock, paper, scissors is going to be 1, 2, or 3. We'll say wins is equal to 0, losses is equal to 0, and ties are equal to 0. And then so while play again is equal to yes, and this initializes, or this the first time through, for most games we're assuming that you want to play the game. So you could do it where this would set to no, and then you ask them if they want to play, but usually you just want to play one time, and then when you're done, you get to ask the user, do you want to play again, all right? So that's where, let me think here. So this is where play again, where we allow the user to input information. Would you like to play again? Yes or no. And maybe this is a little overkill. This would be more like what you would do in real life, where you'd be building things to make sure that they enter the proper information. So while not yes, like while not the play, so while they don't put in yes or they don't enter in no, then we do play again equals input enter yes or enter yes as yes or no as no. Okay. So anyway, this forces the user to enter play again properly, all right? A lot of stuff when you build professional programs, you're basically building all sorts of test cases to bulletproof your code to make sure the user can't type in information that blows up the system, all right? So anyway, that's kind of the while loop to get them to play again. But now they're in, we have to ask the user, so we'll say my answer, and that's going to be what? Input, enter, rock, paper, or scissors. Okay, we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did here, okay? So we're making sure that they enter rock, paper, scissors. So while not my answer equal to rock, or my answer then what do we do? My answer is the input. Make sure you enter rock as rock, paper as paper, or scissors as scissors. Okay, so that forces them to enter rock, paper, scissors. And then what we want to do is we'll get the computer answer, and that's going to be a random int between 1 through 4, excluding 4. So we're doing 1, 2, or 3, and we're going to assume, and this is where I'll put this, 1 is equal to rock, 2 is equal to scissors, or wait, paper, and 3 is equal to scissors. Okay. So if, now these are some kind of decent size if statements, all right? If my answer is equal to rock and the computer answer is equal to 3. So if I choose rock and the computer chooses 3, which is scissors, then, or no, now we got to do or statements, all right? Or okay, or my answer is equal to paper. That needs to be an and. If I choose paper and the computer answer is equal to 1, I choose paper, the computer chooses 1, which is rock, or my answer equals rock, paper, scissors. If I choose scissors and computer answer, if I choose scissors and the computer chooses paper, which is 2, so in any of these scenarios, I win. So we'll say print, you win. Okay. We'll add up the wins, because I did that right here. Wins equals wins plus 1. Okay. If, and we're going to do kind of the same thing here, all right? All right, I'll do that. So else if, I am going to copy stuff here because copying is my friend. So only it's going to be a little bit different here, okay? So if I have rock and the paper, so rock, and they choose, actually I'm going to do the ties here. So if 1, 2, or 3, so if I choose rock, computer has rock, then it's a tie, paper, and then 2 is paper, and then scissors, and 3. So then we'll say what? It's a tie, or print. It's a tie. Okay. Else print. Oop. No, we gotta print. We gotta add up the number of ties. So we'll say ties equals ties plus 1, and then if you don't win or tie, then you lose. So you lose. And then I think I said losses equals losses plus 1. Then we got all of our play again stuff. And then afterwards, so let's say we say no, we don't want to play again. Then what we want to do when we're outside of this while loop here, we want to display our statistics. So we can say print statistics for your game. Because you might play more than one. Print okay, print wins. Let's see here. Let's try that. Wins. str wins. So we'll print our wins. Print ties. And then print. All right, let's see how this works. Run. Means equals. Yeah, that was where I copied and pasted, so those are easy fixes. So I'll enter rock. You lose. Would you like to play again? Yes. Paper. Would you like to play again? Let's say I say blah. Remember I put some stuff in there? Enter yes or no. Blah. Yes, we'll play again. Scissors. So I got a loss, a tie, a loss. Yes. No, let's do, yes, I want to win one, so at least I got, okay, I got to win. I know that I can win, all right? So now I can say no. All right, you want to test them to see if you got all of them. I got a loss, a tie, and it might take you a little longer than you think to play because it's all just random, whatever the computer picks, all right? So we'll say no here. And so I had one win, one tie, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses. So there's my statistics. So anyway, I know this thing runs, and so this video is, I demonstrated the while loop and nested loops. So this is a good video for iterations, but this one is done.